So the roll, slip and slide tools are three tools that allow you to refine a sequence of clips on the timeline. And very specifically, the advantages of these tools are that they let you refine a sequence without affecting the overall duration of the sequence itself. So within an edit, it's very common to end up at certain points where you have a sequence of clips that has a fixed duration, but you need to make some changes. And the tools that we've looked at so far in terms of refining or trimming clips on a sequence are the arrow tool and the ripple tool, and obviously the shortcuts that go along with them. Just as a very quick recap, the arrow tool on the toolbar, main selection tool for selecting and moving clips on the timeline, and also trimming clips by moving over the end of the clips, dragging with the mouse, trimming in or extending back out again. And when you trim a clip with the arrow tool, it leaves a gap. Obviously the sequence of clips there doesn't get any shorter or longer, but if I want to get rid of the gap, then obviously the sequence duration changes. The other main tool that we looked at for trimming clips is the ripple tool. Here's the ripple tool. I'll just select it for a second. This also allows you to move over the end of clips, click down, trim a clip. This time though, as you make the clip shorter, it pulls any of the clips further up the timeline along to get rid of any gap that would have otherwise been created. Or if I drag the end of that clip back out again, it would push any other clips further up the timeline to accommodate the new frames in the clip that I'm adding them to. Either way, this tool is always going to affect the overall duration of a sequence of clips. Okay, so what if I do want to make some refinements to clips without having that problem of the sequence duration changing? So what I've done here on the timeline is I've added 3 clips and I've made sure that their total duration, as you can see here on the time code, the playhead is at the end of the sequence. These clips come to a total of 15 seconds exactly. Let's say for the sake of argument that I now want to make some changes to either the positions of edits between those clips or to the clips themselves. And these are where the 3 tools that I've just mentioned, the roll, the slip and the slide tools, come into play. I'm going to look at the roll tool first. Now, on the toolbar in Premiere, any of the tools that have a little grey triangle in the corner of the tool indicates that there are multiple tools within that area of the toolbar, and you access them by clicking down on the relevant tool, holding your mouse down, and it will reveal any other tools that are available. So I said I'm going to look at the roll tool first of all. So this is also known as the rolling edit tool, and you get this by clicking down on the ripple tool, holding your mouse down, and then clicking on the middle of the 3 tools that are available. Now the rolling edit tool looks very much like the ripple tool, but with a double arrow icon instead of a single arrow icon, and that's because it does a very similar job to the ripple tool, but with one big fundamental difference. So whereas the ripple tool, if I just get the ripple tool back up for a second, allows you to select and then trim one side of an edit point or the other. So it lets you trim the end of one clip, click and drag in like so, pulls the other clips along as I've already mentioned, or if I go to the other side of the edit, lets me trim or extend the start of a clip or the in frame of a clip, again making it longer or shorter. Now the big difference between the ripple tool and the roll tool is if I select an edit point with the roll tool, it selects both sides of the edit simultaneously. So the out frame of the left hand clip and the in frame of the right hand clip. Now this means if I then click down on the edit and drag it, it will trim the end of one clip whilst adding frames to the start of the next. Or if I go the other way, it will extend the end of one clip and trim frames off the start of the next clip along. So let me just zoom in and do that again. So as I click down on the edit with the roll tool, if I drag the edit to the left, it trims frames off the end of the left hand clip and adds the same number of frames to the start of the right hand clip. Or if I drag the other way, it extends and adds frames to the left hand clip whilst taking frames, the same number of frames, off the start of the right hand clip. So this allows you to move or roll an edit point between the two clips, and as you can see on my timeline there, the sequence itself doesn't get any longer or shorter, because as you're giving to one side of the edit, you're taking frames, exactly the same number of frames, off the other. So the two clips themselves change duration, but the overall sequence doesn't. Now the main use of the roll tool is where you need to shift an edit so that that edit within your sequence comes in slightly earlier or slightly later on the timeline. You might do this for multiple reasons. A very common one might be if I was doing an edit to music, and I might, for example, want to do a number of cuts on beats in the music. So imagine, just for the sake of argument, my playhead position here is on a beat in some music. I could loosely edit my sequence down and then run through with the roll tool and roll that edit along till it snaps to my playhead and therefore would cut on a beat. Obviously there's other reasons as well, but that's just one obvious example. Now, a couple of things, additional things to mention with the roll tool. As you roll an edit, as with other tools, your program window updates to give you a 2-up display. So, as I drag the edit to the right or to the left, you can see the two preview windows there in the 2-up display. What they're showing me is the left-hand window is showing me the new out frame of the left-hand clip, and the right-hand window is showing me the new in frame of the right-hand clip. So I can see visually where the cut is going to occur between the two clips. On the timeline, you also get a readout that shows you the duration of the two clips and also how many frames you're trimming by and in what direction. So the first number there that has a plus or a minus before it tells you how many frames you're trimming by and what direction, or frames and seconds if you like, if you go far enough. So minus 200, like I've just moved there, would mean that I've trimmed to the left by 2 seconds and 0 frames. If I drag the edit to the right, you can see it says plus, and now I've just shifted the edit 2 seconds and 16 frames to the right up the timeline. The two duration numbers, the first number is giving you the duration of the left hand clip as you make the change, and the second number is giving you the duration of the right hand clip as you make the change. If you click on the edit itself and just highlight the edit with the roll tool, you can roll the edit by 1 or 5 frames at a time by using the following keyboard shortcut. On a PC, you hold your control key down and then tap your left or right arrow keys on your keyboard. On a Mac, you hold the Option or Alt key down and tap the left or right arrows on your keyboard. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to hold my Option key down. If I tap my left arrow on my keyboard, it trims or rolls the edit 1 frame to the left each time I tap the left hand arrow. If I tap the right hand arrow, it trims 1 frame at a time to the right. If I hold shift down at the same time, so Option and Shift on a Mac or Control and Shift on a PC, it will trim 5 frames at a time to the left with the left hand arrow or to the right with the right hand arrow. Another shortcut that we've looked at previously is the extend command. For the extend command to work, you select an edit in the way that you want it to amend. So it's the arrow tool, you amend it, it will leave a gap, or it will need a gap to extend into. Ripple tool will ripple the edit so it will trim or extend the clip and pull any other clips along. With the roll tool, when you use the extend command, it rolls the edit, and with the extend command it always rolls or trims an edit to wherever the playhead is. So if I put my playhead here, again the edit's still highlighted, but if it wasn't I would just click on it again and then I hit E for extend. It will roll the edit point to the playhead, put it there, hit it again, and you see it rolls it again to the playhead position. So that's the extend command, and both those shortcuts I've just shown you work with the arrow tool, the ripple tool and the roll tool. If I'm using the fine-tuning keyboard shortcut of Control left and right arrows on a PC, Option or Alt left and right arrows on a Mac, obviously as you can see here it's moving the edit, but I'm not getting any 2-up display in my program window, so I've got no idea what those new frames look like. If I want to see the 2-up display, all I have to do is double click on the edit rather than single click on it. That will then open up the trim monitor window. Now if I use that shortcut again, you will see it updating the frames. If If I hold shift down, it'll be more obvious because it'll do 5 frames at a time. You can see there I've got my 2 preview windows up again. And the other quite handy shortcut that I use a lot is there might be times where I just want to very quickly switch from, say, the arrow tool to the roll tool, or the arrow tool to the ripple tool for that matter. And I can do this by just holding a key down. So I'm going to go back to my arrow tool on my keyboard, click on that. As you can see now, if I just deselect the edit, look, here is my arrow tool again. And the useful shortcut here is, on a PC you hold down the control key on your keyboard, keep it held down. On a Mac you hold down the command key, keep it held down. With the command key held down, as I move to the edit, you'll see my arrow tool now becomes a ripple symbol and will work as a ripple. If I move to the other side of the edit, you'll see it do the same thing, like it's rippling that side of the edit. Or if I move over the middle of the edit, it becomes a roll symbol and I can roll the edit. And this way I can use the 3 main trim tools, the arrow, ripple and roll tools, without actually leaving the arrow tool itself. If I wanted to use the roll tool a lot, then I would switch permanently to the roll tool. But if I want to just make a quick adjustment, I tend to use that shortcut quite a lot.